Hi everybody, I've been playing Angela non-stop since the new season has started. I have so much to say about her. I think potentially she's an A-tier character, but the character definitely needs help and some buffs. So I'm not going to waste any time. I kind of want to give you guys my ideas of what this character could use to feel a lot better. It's not like Angela is weak. She's a really high skill ceiling, high reward hero, but there's a lot in her kit that I personally felt like the devs just, they were a little bit short-sighted in their vision in the way that they implemented Angela. So I wanted to give my personal suggestions on what they could do to fix her. So first of all, my first suggestion actually has to do with the passive. So I'm going to try and go one by one over everything I need that could use an improvement, right? So the passive itself, the only way to generate this passive is if you're flying, and it makes your next attack, whether you are in flight form or in brawl form, empowered, right? So for example, if I fly down now and I poke this enemy with my spear, they take a lot more damage, and well, you can see they get knocked back as well. But this character, this bot, sorry, is going to take less damage, and they're not going to take the boop. So it's a grand difference, right? What I would like is, I would like a small change to the passive, a small rework, maybe, is while she is doing normal damage as well, that it makes a difference for her. Because as you can see, the way the passive currently works is even if you generate a little bit of the passive, it does affect the next poke from her spear, and it consumes the entire passive. I don't like that. Like, either let the passive charge the entire way, or allow it so that if you are taking like a continuous brawl, you're able to generate the passive and then do more empowered attacks. I think that would really help her during this like phase where she's forced to like play slower and take pokes, because like she doesn't really have a threat factor unless she's coming at you with the dash, spear carry, right? Which is this one. I don't really have much to add when it comes to this. Obviously it's completely tied to the fuel meter she has. I think the fuel meter is a little bit unforgiving because sometimes you do need to use the shift to like fly around and everything, so that hurts her potential uptime. But I think one thing I would really like to see is if you catch an enemy with your shift, right, is if you press E, you drop with the target, like you carry them to the floor, right? Like you take them with you so that you can do some like you carry the target, you drop them onto the floor, and then you can start beating them. So that's like a burst damage combo for her, right? Because right now, like, Angela's biggest problem is also like she has really bad like sustained burst damage, right? And also one more thing, like a lot people just don't know because they don't read this massive word vomit over here, is like when Angela is fighting in her brawl form, she does get the empowered attacks, like I mentioned, from the passive being charged. So if I go into the emote now and I do damage, you can clearly see this damage is much higher than this damage over here. So it's a grand difference, right? But what I don't like is, again, like, it's just like the passive doesn't charge when she's on the floor. I don't like that. I think like this makes her like a lot weaker, and you have to like they put way too many mini games on the character to maintain her overall pressure uptime. So again, like, I think when you're on the floor and you're fighting, I think something that would make it interesting is because when Angela doesn't have her golden like zone, when you drop down, there's like these spikes that come out. When you don't have that, I think when you're fighting like this outside of that golden zone, you can build up your passive, right? So that you can actually take extended duels with other tanks, because Angela's matchups against other tanks are really awkward unless she does have like some help around her. So I think these are some of the buffs that I would really like to see. Once again, like I said, if you're carrying somebody, I cast this guy and I press E now, right? When I press E now, obviously it's on cooldown, I would like to drop with the character. Like, I want Angela to carry them downstairs, drop with them, and then like engage in a brawl. Because I think this will be really good for her overall gameplay flow. Of course, it's going to be annoying, but there's like this whole game is annoying if you actually think about it, but that's just the fantasy of this game. We're trying to like carry the hero fantasy and put more emphasis on that. So I think that would really help her. It would be a great quality of life buff and allow her to make some solo plays as well. Again, by no means is she a bad character. She's a high skill ceiling character that rewards a lot of precise gameplay, but I think she does need a little bit of help. Secondly, I don't like the fact that the only way for Angela to sustain herself during her own brawling is like she has to fight within this like the golden spears, right? One thing I would like to see is allow the golden spears to give self-sustain to her allies, and herself, because she generates the overhealth, as you guys just saw, like on the HP bar. You can rewind it in case you missed it. Like again, like as she's building up the passive, if you do an empower, like, again, implying that they put in my rework where the passive gets charged via the melee hits. When the passive gets charged and you do like this double axe attack, which is the fourth part of the combo, I would like that to generate just 50 overhealth, nothing more, nothing less, right? And the criteria is that you have to build the actual like the meter on your screen, right? So I think these are just some things that they could do to help the quality of life of how Angela is playing right now. My final suggestion is, I'm not gonna lie guys, like this you entering E and it going on a 12-second cooldown before you can drop down again, this is way too clunky for the character, right? I get the reason why it's 12 seconds, because they were like, okay, that like you're gonna be flying around like trying to reposition, look for an opportunity, so it should be back in time. Personally, I think the E cooldown should, well, first of all, I don't even think the cooldown should be there. She should be allowed to go in and out of those two forms whenever she wants. Although granted that could be a little annoying. At most, I think they can drop that cooldown from 12 seconds all the way down to 6 seconds and experiment with that, because it's really awkward, right? Because one of the things you can do with Angela that's really, really good that only she can pull off, and maybe Hulk, is she can soft engage a backline, drop down like this, do a little bit of pressure, maybe force out a cooldown, immediately disengage back to her team, like come back and like, you know, like wait out and engage with her team. And once you're playing aggressive, she flies in with her team, she gets her E back, and then you drop down and fight those supports again. So I really like that, because Angela can do that really comfortably and safely. But like again, like the cooldown being so high at 12 is just way too much. I think I would like to see it go to 6, 7, 8. I think this range would be nice to have. But personally, like, these are just some of my suggestions to Angela, everybody. Like, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Like, what do you think about the state of Angela? I really like this character. I haven't fallen in love with playing a character like this in a really, really long time. But I think there's like room for improvement, right? I don't want to just give her raw damage numbers. I think we can first look at like improving the quality of life, like how she's actually playing in the match, and like the different things you can do in terms of combos. And then like if she needs a lot more help, maybe we can look at increasing her damage. But honestly, if you did want to increase her damage, all you have to do is when she's in Brawl form, right? When she's in Brawl form, just allow her to like maybe do like 5 or maybe 10 more damage than the current number that she has, because with all the healing in the game, this damage is basically nothing. But maybe it could be a little bit OP. But like I said, like instead of doing that, they can make it so that, like I said, in this Brawl form, as you're fighting like this, you can build the like the passive, so you can get your empowered attacks, and you know, you need your empowered attacks. But tying the entire empowered attacks to flight is just holding her back. I think this character genuinely has potential to really shift up the meta and allow for some really interesting comps to be played. But like they have to look at the improving the quality of life on this character. Once that is achieved, I think Angela genuinely has potential to go into S tier. Right now, I already think she's A tier as well, like B tier on average. But she is a really, really high skill ceiling, high reward character, and I like that. We need more characters like this in Marvel Rivals. We have some already, but I think more is always nice, right? Because it's fun learning how much more you can do with the character. So that's it for this video, everybody. What do you think of my suggestions to Angela? What would you suggest? Do you like the kit the current way? Would you like to change anything? And if so, what would you like to do? I will be reading the comments and discussing with you guys down below. So let me know downstairs and let's discuss on what we can do to help Angela.